Hey guys, today I'm going to be replacing the RivNut on my belly pan for my 05 TJ. Basically the RivNut stripped out and just sits there and spins. I think I'm probably going to get lucky and have the actual bolt unscrew itself. It's just it won't get very tight. So I'm lucky in that sense. So kind of go through the process of how to drop your belly pan down, drill that out, and then replace the RivNut, and then kind of what tools you need. So we'll go ahead and I'll kind of show you what's going on, and then you guys can follow along. Alright guys, so this is the bottom of my belly pan here, and as you can see I do have bolts in it, but this bolt down here on the end, it actually fell out and I put in a new one, but it just continues to spin and spin and spin. See, it doesn't really get tight. So thankfully I think I'm going to be able to unscrew it. And then we'll go ahead and go through the process of replacing that. If yours didn't unscrew, like it just sat there and spun, I would first probably try like an impact to see if you could, get it to stick and unspin real quick. And then the next thing you're gonna have to do is cut it off, either with like a grinder or a cutting torch or like plasma cutters to get the head of the bolt off. You could drill it out too, but if it's spinning, that might be kind of hard to do. So hopefully yours just comes out. You could also try to maybe chisel the head of it off, and then you'll be able to slip the pan off and then drill it out. So something like that. So I'll go ahead and show you what how I'm going to do it here in a second. All right, guys. So what I got going on here is I got my transmission jack up here against the transmission, because you take the belly pan off, this whole like drive line system is going to try to come down on you. I got my other jack that's going to come up against the belly pan to take the load of the belly pan as I remove the 3 bolts on this side and the 3 bolts on that side. And then you also have to take off 4 bolts here that kind of mount to the transmission, brace or whatever you want to call it there, that sticks at the bottom of the belly pan. So you need a 13mm socket for those deep. And then you need a 3/4 or 19mm socket for the belly pan bolts here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the transmission bolts off and put them in my bin. And then I'll go ahead and pump the jack up real quick for you. And then we'll take that all off. So. That's those. Go ahead and go jack up the jack there. You just want a slight pressure there. Just don't want it falling mainly on you. All right, there's 1 bolt on this side. Bolt on this side. Now this is where you want to make sure you have your jacks all set up. Like you could see maybe in the video that it all kind of dropped down just a little bit. So this jack is tight. I have some blocks of wood in there. Nothing's going to get pinched. So that should take the weight of all this once I get these remaining 2 bolts out. And there's another one. Okay, So everything that's holding this up now is just the transmission jack, and then I'm gonna lower this, then we'll slide it out so we can work on the bolts or the RivNut here. So we'll drill that out here in a second. So you'll see me lower that, move it up. And for mine, I have pumps back here for my lockers that are connected. So we'll see if I can just scoot it over so I don't have to disconnect that bracket. But if you did, it'd be 4 bolts. I believe it's 4 bolts. There's at least, yeah, it feels like there's 4 bolts that you'd have to take out, and they come from the top. So just be aware of that. But yeah, it looks like I'm gonna be able just to slide this over just a little bit, and then I'll be able to drill it out without having to, you know, take this fully out from underneath the Jeep. So we'll go ahead and transition to that. I gotta go find the drill bit. It's an M12, so you know, it'll be you know, we'll find the right drill bit. See if I have one. All right, so the RivNut is an M12 by 1.75. So that's kind of what it looks like. I'm gonna see if a 1/2-inch drill bit will drill that out. It looks like it's almost the same size. So we'll see if it, you know, if it can remove enough of it, basically, for me to be able to take it out. It may not. So we'll see here if I get lucky on that. So we'll see. I have step drill bits too, so we'll see how it works. The one I'm working on is down here in the corner by my foot. We'll kind of adjust you guys here. All right, so the RivNut tool that I got is this Astro 15 or 1452. Looks like this, comes in a nice little case with the dies. To change the dies out, you'll unscrew this. Okay, this comes off, and then this mandrel, you kind of have to hold this side and then unscrew it, and then you screw in the one you want. The tip also changes, that accommodates the shaft diameter of your, you know, the thread. This is an M12 already installed here. This part also kind of goes down, and then you can unthread it by holding that. So it kind of takes 2 hands to do. I only have one videotaping, so you'll just have to trust me on that. Let me thread this back in all the way. Doesn't have to be super tight, just snug. All right, so these are the bolts you want to do this if you need new bolts. An M12 by 1.75, 40 millimeters long or 3/4. I just went to my local fastener supply and got that. I was lucky, and they also had these in stock. So these are M12 by 1.75 RivNuts, and this mandrel here. So basically you put it in the Jeep like you'll see, and it threads on like that. And so this pushes against this, and it pulls this shaft inwards, which then expands this and mushrooms it out. So you open this up as much as you can underneath the Jeep, and you know, you would thread this, but we can just do it here because it's easier. Or you could do this first on the ground and then put it into the Jeep with the arms spread out. So either way, whatever works for you. All right, so my camera went out or died. So basically I ended up drilling this out with my step bit, because a 1/2-inch bit was not big enough. And so my step bit, I went to 3/4. You need a 3/4 inch at least step bit or drill bit. It won't seem to focus there. There you go. And so I drilled that out, and then I put in my new RivNut there, and then I used the RivNut installation tool to, you screw it in, you know, and you screw in, and then you pinch the handles together. Well, anyways, the handles are really hard to squeeze, and so what I ended up doing was, between the 2 handles, again, I'm really sorry my camera went out. What I ended up doing is I have this Irwin quick grip. And so you put this on both sides of the handle here, and then you squeeze the handles together. It's really easy with this quick grip, and I did that a couple times. So you'll like thread it in, and then you'll pinch it, and then you'll thread it back in, you know, kind of the arms open up, and you can pinch it again until it gets really hard to do. and then that is when your RivNut is installed. And what I did is I put a bolt in there after I installed it, and then I made sure that the it wouldn't free spin. At first, I tried just doing it by hand, and it was spinning in there, and then it almost got stuck in there like free spinning. There wasn't enough friction to unscrew it. So I put some side load and then took my impact driver there and then just zipped it out. And with the side load, it was enough friction on the RivNut that I was able to zip it out. So again, I would recommend, unless you're, Bubba, I would recommend you use those quick grips, and you pinch it together and you kind of adjust your, you screw it in as this nut collapses in there. The space that needs to travel is less, but you have more play now in this. So you have to take this, you have to open the arms up and screw that middle part in there so you can get another, go at it to continue to crush that RivNut, which crushes it and spreads it out, kind of mushrooms it up in there so it gets stuck. So yeah, so anyways, just use that as quick grip. I got those to put the belly pan back on. The biggest thing is those transmission mounts there. You have to get those nuts to pop, or the studs to pop back through so you can get the nuts on. So I would recommend you get those popping out first and then get the nuts started. Don't tighten them down all the way yet, and then get your belly pan bolts all in and then tighten those down. So we'll go ahead and you can watch me do that until my camera dies again, I guess. All right, so we'll go ahead and start doing this fun stuff here. Looks like my driver is on the other side. I've got one bolt on the other side, and we'll get this bolt started here. All right, I need to jack my jack up one go here, and then that'll make it a lot easier. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and line up a couple more bolts or get them at least started. And you don't wanna tighten all your bolts down until you have all of them at least captured. All right, that might be just a little much. There we go. All right, so we'll get these started. And I would recommend you have some never sees on your bolts as well, just because this gets water exposure and all that fun stuff. So I definitely recommend that. I had this belly pan off a couple times. I had my transfer case explode on me going down the interstate. That was a fun experience. Pinched up here a little too much. Gotta go lower it. All right, so there we go. Got it adjusted on the other side. All right. There you go. All right, get some bolts started in here. There's one. All right, let's pull the belly pan up a little bit with this bolt. All right, there we go. All right, try to take some load of the other one. Find my other bolt here, wherever it went. Always losing your bolts. Where the fuck you go? All right, here's our last bolt here. For this side at least. All right. All right, so this whole side is just almost snug. There's a little gap. You probably can't see it from your angle. I'm gonna go over on the other side and snug it up, and then I'll come over here and snug it up. I'd recommend going on a very low setting on your impact wrench, or just using your ratchet to tighten them up. That way you don't, you know, get another RivNut loosened up on there. I mean, it needs to be tight, but it just, you know, use some common sense. Alright, so I just had to move the jack a little bit so I can get this one started. Alright, so you see the tone change, that's mainly what you're looking for, and then snug it up with your ratchet knife. Okay. Alright, there's still enough here. I'm going to switch back to my impact. Alright, tone change. Tone change. Alright. Alright. Tight. Alright, hopefully this gets tight. There we go. It's trying to get tight. Alright, tight. 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 Alright, tight. So, looks like we've successfully done that, and then we just got to do the ones for transmission mount there. Alright, those should be good, but you can hand test it. I'll set a good example. Alright. And tight. Tight. That one needed one more. Alright, tight. Alright, so I'm going to release the weight on the belly pan, and then I'm going to let down transmission jack. Alright, here comes the transmission. Alright. Hey, so I hope you found this video helpful and learned some things from it. Hopefully you learned, you know, how to install a RivNut if you've never done that before. You got to kind of learn that quick grip trick to be able to pinch it. You know, I'm not afraid to admit I can't quite pinch that all the way. So, you know, just, you know, use a clamp if you have it. You kind of got to see, you might need 2 jacks if you don't have any way to hold the transmission up. In other ways, if you had 1 jack, you could jack it up probably a little bit and maybe put a block of wood or a jack stand with a piece of wood on top of it underneath that, and then move your jack over to the belly pan there. In other ways, you could just use the jack, you know, on the transmission, and then you know, have someone help you hold the belly pan while you unscrew it. So those are the things. Kind of got to see how you drill out the actual RivNut, and then yeah. So hopefully this video was helpful. It would have been a little better had my camera not died, but I think I salvaged it to where someone else can, you know, get some benefit from it. Thanks for watching.